I'm Alex Sharfin, and this is the Momentum Podcast, made for empire builders, game changers, trailblazers, shot takers, record breakers, world makers, and creators of all kinds. Those among us who can't turn it off and don't know why anyone would want to. We challenge complacency, destroy apathy, and we are obsessed with creating momentum so we can roll over bureaucracy and make our greatest contribution. Sure, we pay attention to their rules, but only so that we can bend them, break them, then rewrite them around our own will. We don't accept our destiny, we define it. We don't understand defeat because you only lose if you stop, and we don't know how. While the rest of the world strives for average and clings desperately to the status quo, we are the minority, the few, who are willing to hallucinate there could be a better future, and instead of just daydreaming of what could be, we endure the vulnerability and exposure it takes to make it real. We are the evolutionary hunters, clearly the most important people in the world, because entrepreneurs are the only source of consistent, positive human evolution, and we always will be. Build your momentum bubble. Last week, Katie and I went to a local event here in town where a lot of entrepreneurs tend to hang out, and it happens once a week or once a month, and we decided to go and check it out. And we walked in and ran into a friend of ours, and within just a few minutes, he brought up Harvey Weinstein and what's going on in Hollywood and how terrible it is. And no joke, both Katie and I had to ask, what's happening? And I didn't realize just how big an issue it was. I didn't realize how much was going on, how crazy it really was. And when he explained it to us, you know, I don't know, it sounds a lot like what's always happening in Hollywood, but now guys are just getting caught. And it sounds, you know, I grew up in Southern California. I got into the fringes of the entertainment industry and decided very quickly that it wasn't for me because, well, a lot of the stuff that he told us about what has been discovered and what is coming out now. But that's not the purpose of this podcast. The purpose of this podcast is to demonstrate that Katie and I didn't even know what's happening because we have built a near perfect, impervious entrepreneurial bubble. Let me tell you what I mean by that. I want a momentum bubble around me. When I was a kid, I remember there was this show called The Boy in the Bubble, and I'm pretty sure it was the Kid in the Bubble or something like that. And it was a after school special about a kid who had so many sensitivities he had to live in this plastic bubble and couldn't touch anyone. And it was supposed to be this show about how sad it was for him to be in the bubble. And I remember the whole time I was watching it thinking, gosh, that's pretty cool. Nobody's messing with him. Nobody can touch him. He doesn't have anybody bothering him. Like, I don't know that bubble was such a bad thing. And obviously, I understand how hard it would be to be isolated and how difficult it would be. But as a kid, I actually saw benefit to the bubble. Well, now, as an adult entrepreneur, I do everything I can to stay in my bubble. I block out anything that does not give us momentum. When it comes to news or current events or, you know, cultural trends or what's happening in Hollywood and all of that stuff, I absolutely ignore it. I don't watch the news. My family doesn't have cable TV. We don't look at a lot of that stuff. When we go to a restaurant and we get seated in a place where we can see a news screen, we usually ask to be reseated because we just don't need to see and hear about it. And this is how I've been for years. Not only that, but the people I talk to, they're not interested in sharing current events with me most of the time, unless we go out to an event like we did the other night. Most of the time when I'm talking to one of my clients, we get on the phone and we are talking about growing and scaling companies. We're talking about business. We're moving things forward. You know, when we sell a day of our time or when I sell a day of my time, it's usually $25,000 and up. Nobody wants to come and talk about current events with me. They want to get things done. And that's exactly how I like it. Because I want to stay in my bubble of momentum. I want to stay in my bubble of productivity. I don't need to know everything else that's going on around the world. You can call it naive. You can call it sticking your head in the sand. You can call it whatever you want. But there is nothing positive that's going to come from my life from understanding all the current events and trauma and issues and challenges that are happening around the world. When something really, really bad happens, it will get to me. We'll hear about it eventually, but I don't need to watch the play-by-play. Because in my world, what's most important is growing my business, connecting with my family, helping my clients, creating momentum, and creating my outcomes in the world, the things that I actually want to see happen. So on a daily basis, I don't let any of that stuff in. So I'll take you back to the other night at the party. Katie and I, as soon as we walk in, we were assaulted with this news about Harvey Weinstein. And I'm awkward as it is, and I don't really do well in crowds or with groups of people. And so I only got more uncomfortable from that point forward. And I realized, and Katie and I realized in that moment, like when we attend events like this, we expose ourselves to the crowd. We're not in our entrepreneurial bubble anymore. That's why we're so uncomfortable. Because talking about things like Harvey Weinstein and obsessing about things that are on the news and North Korea and the President Trump and all these other things that it doesn't matter what your opinions are. The fact is, I don't want to hear them because ignoring it all puts me in momentum. It doesn't distract me. I don't need to give time, effort, energy, or focus to any of those things. And that's how I want it. So for you, how tight is your entrepreneurial bubble? How tight is that momentum bubble that you have where you don't let in things that rob your momentum, where you don't let in the news, the people, the places that rob you of momentum, that slow you down? Because I've said this before, it's analog, it's binary, it's either on or off. The people, the places, the things that you are allowing into your life either are giving you momentum or they are taking it away. Every day, when I get up and I interface with my clients, I record this podcast, I look at my social media news feeds, I don't have any of that stuff. You would laugh if you saw my Facebook because anytime there's something political or frustrating or upsetting or a current event, I just say, I don't want to see posts like this. And so my news feed is near 100% positive. So I don't get dragged down. I don't see the things that everybody else sees. I don't have the same reality that everybody else has. And when we craft our reality, it becomes what we live in every day. And in my world, people are growing businesses every single day. In my world, entrepreneurs are excited to be alive and they call me and they tell me about it. In my world, people are making massive effects on markets. They're building movements. They're making millions of dollars and they're feeling like they are in full contribution and they are predicting the future, coming back to the present and making it real. You tell me, what world do you want to live in? The world where the president of the United States is fighting with news networks, where news networks, depending on which one it is, have all kinds of negative stuff out there. The world where Harvey Weinstein and God knows who else is doing crazy things out in Hollywood. If we want to focus on all of those things, we can. But instead, you have a choice right now. Start building your bubble. Start putting space between you and the pain and the anguish and the noise and the pressure that the rest of the world invites into their life every day. Start asking yourself, when you turn on the TV, when you turn on your radio in your car, when you pick up a newspaper or a magazine, is this giving me momentum or is it taking it away? Because what I think you'll find is that when you raise the level of diligence around what you allow into your life, you will find that you can create an entirely new reality. And anyone who thinks it's crazy to think that you can create the world and craft it to exactly what you want, I absolutely accept that. Because I'm happy to be crazy in my entrepreneurial bubble of momentum. I'm happy to be insulated from the pressure and noise that the rest of the world feels every day. I'm happy to ignore all of the crap in the world that the media and politicians and news organizations and newspapers and magazines and everybody else wants to distract you with to get your attention. Because I direct my energy, my effort, my focus, my attention, and my time at exactly the outcomes I want to create in the world, and that's how I ensure they happen. I don't know how to do it any other way. So are you ready to create your momentum bubble? Are you ready to put space between you and the things that may slow you down? All it takes is the decision, and I guarantee you, you will never regret it. It's a game changer when you create the reality that you want to live in, because perception is our reality, and I know mine is in full momentum every single day. If you're ready to create more momentum than you ever thought possible, then take a look at our Momentum Masterclass. We will help you stop feeling like you're letting those around you down, stop missing opportunity, and understand exactly where you should focus to create as much momentum as possible. Join hundreds of entrepreneurs who have used these concepts to increase their income, change their physiology, get into full momentum, and stay there. Go to momentumwebclass.com, momentumwebclass.com, and check it out.